2025 was an absolutely insane year for gaming, jam-packed with banger games, tons of instant classics and indie darlings, almost all of which I absolutely couldn't afford to play, just like any other year. Because I'm poor and lazy and ugly and I don't have good hygiene and I've got way too much confidence. Top Games 2025! Look, it's just gotta be on this list. There's no way it couldn't be. It's an amazing game, an all-timer, a return to greatness for the turn-based RPG genre. It's emotional, well-written, and just hugely important for gaming as a whole. Everyone's been talking about it for almost the entire year, and now that the year's almost over, everybody's going to be talking about it again. So obviously, I'm going to talk about it because I've never had an original idea in my life, and really, I just want to fit in. I just wish it could be higher on the list, but let's be real, this year's been crammed full of so many incredible games. Incredible games just like Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is one of the most important games of all time, and nobody's been talking about it this year. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is a really good game. Okay, I don't think I can commit to this bit. Let's run it back and I'll give you the actual top 10. Because I love you and I don't want to mess you around. I don't want to play games with you. I actually really like you, and I just want you to know I'm in this for the long run if you are. I love you. Maybe it's because I am a long-time Dynasty Warriors fan and my expectations are, frankly, in the toilet. Maybe it's because I'm an elder millennial whose experience with this whole existence thing has been massively underwhelming as a whole. But this game is far better than it has any business being. It's a roguelite, it's Dynasty Warriors, it is what it is, and what it is yeah, it's pretty dang okay. I've spent years, decades even, expecting less than the bare minimum from the Dynasty Warriors franchise, and every time I am somehow still left disappointed in almost every game in the series. Each iteration is a step back, every sequel littered with poor decisions, but this is competent, which for Dynasty Warriors in 2025 is fucking amazing. It runs great, the combat is more innovative than any Dynasty Warriors game in history. The boss fights feel fair and well designed, and the flow of the game, it isn't awful. It's a strong 7 out of 10, which for Dynasty Warriors is a 10 out of 10. Have you ever asked yourself what would happen if you crossed the one crafting of Natia? With the gameplay from The Binding of Isaac and the art direction of Broteo? Me neither, but somebody did, and the answer is Magicraft. I hate the art style, the difficulty is way too high, and the plot is completely pointless and vestigial. But if I put this tracking power-up in front of this speed power-up, and then place them in front of this Shadow Serpent spell, which goes behind this duplication spell, and then slot them all into this wand, then add this power-up that has a 20% chance to cast all of those spells anytime I use another wand, which is equipped with a really fast and basic magic bullet spell, it'll fire fast and proc for free, leaving me free not to have to baby my MP, and whee! Everybody likes balls. Everybody wants balls. Everybody wants to have balls. They want balls inside them. But true happiness comes not from getting balls, but from giving balls. And in Ball X Pit, you are the giver of ball. You give your balls to so many guys, and they bounce and flop and slap in all the guys' faces, and then they die. And really, if you think about it, that's a metaphor for life. We give balls, we take balls, we die. I put it at number 8 in this list because 8 kind of looks like a pair of balls. Obsidian is one of my all-time favourite gaming studios. Knights of the Old Republic 2 has a place in my top 5 of all time. Fallout New Vegas has a place in my top 1 of all time. And Josh Sawyer is such a goddamn cutie. And I tell you what, you can get it, you little cutie. I'd chuck one right up here. But The Outer Worlds was such a letdown in almost every single way that it almost killed all the hype I could ever possibly generate for another Obsidian-made RPG. It was regressive, half-baked, and such a step back in terms of themes, mechanics, and decision-making. But Avowed was decent. Like, not amazing, but it was decent. In a world filled with nothing but generic Western RPG slop and 17 Skyrim re-releases, I'll take decent. It did a lot of things right. The combat was meaty, it had weight to it. Firing off a charged lightning bolt and sending 4 mushroom guys hurtling off a cliff is always going to be a good time. And not only that, the choices that the story offered you actually really made a difference. I feel like lately, RPGs are becoming less and less reactive. But even with all that said, the characters fell flat. The world was tired and generic, and the loot system was, oh my god, just awful. Just really shit. Like big stinky poo bomb bads, like hot wet diarrhea firing out the arse of your favorite fucking racist. Sometimes you pick up a game on a whim and it pays off. Sometimes you pick up a game on a whim and it turns out to be the dullest fucking shit in all of history. Monsters Are Coming: Rock and Road is a delightful little city builder, roguelike, resource gathering vampire survivor clone with a gameplay loop tighter than Nancy Reagan's world famous throat game. And just like Nancy Reagan, it delivers on all fronts. On all fronts. You are the hero of a moving city that has to make its way through hordes and hordes of monsters. You cut trees, you mine rocks, you build towers and slay monsters. Then you cut trees, mine rocks, build towers and slay monsters. That's it. It's a good game. It's a little side piece and it's just fantastic at what it does. Just like Nancy Reagan. Nine Kings scratches that little itch for me that started when I first discovered Flash tower defense games between looking up hentai on rotten.com and popping a boner in IT class when I was 12. I don't know what it is about these pointless tower defense games, but I crave them deep down in my soul and I am genuinely ashamed of that. I buy an absolutely shitload of them and almost every single one of them, old and new, is trash. We're talking a 99.9% to 0.1% hit to miss ratio, a sea of slop in which there are alarmingly few islands. But then you get games like Nine Kings. Nine Kings is a deck building tower defense game that costs less than half the price of a AAA game. And I got so many hours of sheer joy out of it this year. You lay some cards down, towers appear. Little dudes come and attack you. You get resources and you do it over and over and over until you get swarmed like Asmongold when he calls upon his people to form a protective barrier around him before he goes out on a crime spree in Gotham City. Terrible bit, really. Nine Kings was my game to unwind with before bed this year. I have sleep problems and I need something to shut up my stupid brain off before the sweet embrace of darkness can hush my unceasing anxiety. And this game was a great little body to help forget about, you know, all the things and stuff. Trust no one. Not even yourself. The Alters is a game that asks, can you rely on yourself? And for me, obviously that answer's no. I mean, look at me. Look how I live my life. Look how I choose to spend my time. But if you could clone yourself and change your clone's path in life so that it was still you, but a different version of you, would it be any better if your clone decided not to cross the street and didn't get hit by a car and went on to be a more successful version of you? Would it be a better version of you? The Alters says no. Clone yourself a dozen times and every single one of them will turn out to be an insufferable dickhole. But you will get to have parties with yourself and probably have the ultimate drunken circle jerk.
I'm gonna come.
And after you've wanked yourself stupid, there's a great game in The Alters. The gameplay loop is super satisfying. You send your little clones to do their little jobs, you go around and do your little jobs, and you try and make it off of the planet you're stuck on by collaborating with a bunch of slightly different versions of yourself. You clash, manage their egos, try your hardest to make the best of a bad situation, muddle through and make some difficult choices. And then you have a party and wank yourself off. 8 out of 10. Vampire Survivors clones. There's about 11.9 billion of these things, and most of them are dog wank, but some of them are good. Some of them are really good, and Rogue Genesia might be the best of them. It's like Vampire Survivors enhanced. There are a lot of Vampire Survivors clones that bring new things to the micro-genre, and there are a lot of Vampire Survivors you know what, I'm not going to keep calling them Vampire Survivors clones. That's stupid. I'm going to call them auto shooter survivors. There are a lot of auto shooter survivors out there that bring something new to the table and try to innovate the format, and there's a lot of auto shooter survivors out there that bring nothing to the table and just try to do almost exactly what Vampire Survivors did, and none of those clones are any good, apart from Rogue Genesia. It does the thing where it throws a million bad guys on screen and everyone goes, ooh, look at the pretty lights, and your frame rate slows to a crawl, your RAM catches fire, and your little brother has a seizure on the floor because he had the audacity to dare look at your haunted kaleidoscope of a screen for half a fucking second. Ugh. But what Rogue Genesia does is it gives you more everything, more concepts, more mechanics, more gameplay systems, more weapons, more evolutions, and most revolutionary of all, more information. Because I am a deeply troubled individual who is, for the most part, completely unable to engage with reality in any meaningful way, I am fully on board with whenever a good game decides to share all of its guts with me. Rogue Genesia is a game built on maths and systems, and it wants you to know how every single one of them works. It tells you explicitly how each upgrade works, what each stat does, and how it affects the other stats. It has the best information delivery system in all of gaming, and if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go look at some trains. This is Mullet Mad Jack, and you shoot guns and kill billionaire robots and save a cyber babe and criticize capitalism. Listen, I played this game this year. You might not have heard of it. Not many people were talking about it, but it's my favorite game of the year. It's a little game called... Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do not give one solitary shit about the Game Awards. The most I've ever cared about them was last year when Bellatrix was up for Game of the Year, because it would have been insanely funny for a game made by one person to beat billion-dollar corporations. And I don't even like Bellatrix. But this year, if Claire Obscure doesn't mop the floor with everything else out there, then there is no justice in this world, and I will shit my pants in protest. I'll do it. Don't test me. Yeah, editing Koi here. It did win Game of the Year, and I did shit my pants. Claire Obscure is a generational game, a game that will stay culturally relevant for the next 20 years, purely because it gutted and renovated a genre that was left to languish for nearly 20 years. Turn-based RPGs were dead, and the gaming industry killed them. When Final Fantasy moved away from turn-based combat to action-based combat, so did most other mainstream developers, and when the big studios started pursuing the more fast-paced, frenetic combat of the more mainstream games, they lost the spark that made the genre special in the first place. And I get it, they wanted to sell more games, they wanted to make bank and appeal to more people by dumbing down the formula, rounding off the edges, and offering faster-paced combat to appeal to a more general audience. And that's fine, I guess. If that's what people like, then fine. Don't worry about me, I'll just be over here, not enjoying my favourite childhood genre for 20 fucking years. That's fine, I'm totally not bitter about it. So imagine my joy when a completely unknown developer came out of absolutely nowhere with a debut game that bucked the trends, reanimated a bloated corpse, innovated and revolutionized the formula, along with delivering one of the best stories in big budget gaming, garnering critical praise and instant classic status in one fell swoop. Now, I'm not John Square, but if I was, I'd be shitting my tiny little britches right about now. The general gaming public is finally starting to realize that AAA devs have been taking them for a ride for over a decade by spaffing out the same tired old horseshit game after game after game. For the last at least 15 years, in AAA gaming, there's been no meaningful artistic progress, complete thematic stagnation. Tired mechanics trotted out again and again in the form of yearly updates, spummed out of the slot pipe and straight into your mouth. It's time to wake up. There are better games out there, and they've been there this whole time. While mainstream gaming has been stuck in its self-made rut for multiple console generations, indie houses and solo devs have been quietly perfecting their craft and bringing something new to the table. And the state of gaming is so bad that even your mate Steve, that only plays COD and FIFA, is starting to notice. That's why Clair Obscur stands out, and that's why it's gotten so much buzz this year. Not because it really revolutionized anything at all, but because the state of its mainstream peers is just fucking abysmal and people are tired of it. It's a great game, it really is. But the reason it's an all-timer for me isn't because it does any one thing particularly well, but because it's a breath of fresh air in a room full of fetid mold like J.K. Rowling's bedroom. The scene is rotten, it's decrepit, and its gross little spores are seeping their way into your brain. And Clair Obscur is the only cure. And unlike Joanna, gamers have chosen to embrace the light and reject the darkness. Clair Obscur and the fanfare surrounding it are surefire signs that the world is healing. And whilst Clair Obscur was easily the best game that I played this year, what I'm really excited about is the potential it represents. Now, come with me and let's walk hand in hand together into a better future where games are good again, where creatives are free to make the best games they can possibly make instead of the best selling games that they can possibly make.